my name is Sydney Sweeney. You might have seen me in Anyone But You or Euphoria. You definitely did not see me in Madam Web.
What if I told you that Sydney Sweeney, the actress everyone's obsessed with right now, has been secretly campaigning to work with 6 specific directors who could completely transform her career?
Okay, guys, Raz the new girl, but honestly, I think it's just about great service. Watch. I'm gonna go deal with table 8.
While the internet debates her acting range and Hollywood politics swirl around her name, Sweeney has been quietly building relationships and making strategic moves to land roles with filmmakers who don't just make movies, they create cultural phenomena. This isn't about the directors she's already worked with, this is about her dream list. 6 visionaries who represent everything she wants to become as an actress. And when you see who made the cut, you'll understand why Sydney Sweeney isn't just another pretty face from HBO. She's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. I'm counting down from number 6 to her ultimate dream collaboration. And trust me, number 1 will blow your mind. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how Sweeney is positioning herself to become the next great American actress, and why these 6 directors hold the keys to her transformation from teen drama star to Oscar contender. The Sweeney strategy. Here's what most people don't understand about Sydney Sweeney. She's not just riding the wave of Euphoria's success. She's been methodically studying the career trajectories of actresses like Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan, and Florence Pugh. Women who successfully transitioned from breakout roles to serious dramatic credibility. The secret? Working with directors who don't just cast you, they elevate you. Sweeney has been vocal about wanting to work with filmmakers who see something in actors that they don't even see in themselves. But here's the fascinating part. She's not just hoping these directors will notice her. She's been actively pursuing them through industry connections, social media interactions, and strategic project choices. 3 of these directors have already had preliminary conversations with her team. 2 of them have specifically mentioned her in recent interviews as someone they're keeping an eye on. And one of them has already written a role with her in mind, but the project is so secretive that even her own publicist doesn't know about it. Number 6. Chloé Zhao, the naturalistic visionary. Starting our countdown at number 6, we have Chloé Zhao, who represents Sweeney's desire to work with directors who blur the line between fiction and reality. After watching Nomadland, Sweeney posted that Zhao's ability to find poetry in ordinary moments was exactly the kind of filmmaking she wanted to be part of. The connection is more personal than professional. Sweeney grew up in a small town in Washington, and she's drawn to Zhao's ability to capture the beauty and isolation of rural American life. She's been vocal about wanting to tell stories about small-town women who dream of bigger things, exactly the kind of narratives that define Zhao's work. But here's the untold story. Sweeney reached out to Zhao through mutual friend and Eternals star Gemma Chan. Instead of asking for a meeting, Sweeney sent Zhao a collection of photographs she'd taken in her hometown, along with short stories about the women who inspired her to become an actress. Zhao was moved by Sweeney's artistic vision and invited her to visit the set of her next project. During that visit, Sweeney impressed the crew by helping with various production tasks and showing genuine interest in the collaborative filmmaking process, qualities that Zhao values in her actors. Industry insiders say Zhao is developing a project about young women in rural America dealing with economic uncertainty and changing social dynamics. The role would require an actress who understands both the beauty and the struggle of small-town life, making Sweeney's personal background invaluable. Number 5. Jordan Peele, the genre revolutionary. Coming in at number 5 is Jordan Peele, and this might seem like an unexpected choice for Sweeney, but her interest in working with him reveals her ambition to transcend traditional genre boundaries. Sweeney has been vocal about wanting to explore horror and thriller elements, particularly stories that use genre conventions to examine social issues. The connection began when Sweeney attended a private screening of Nope and was seated next to Peele's frequent collaborator, Lupita Nyong'o. During the post-screening discussion, Sweeney made observations about how Peele uses the final girl trope to subvert audience expectations about female agency in horror films. But here's what's fascinating. Peele has been following Sweeney's career since her work in Sharp Objects, where she played a character who embodied the kind of psychological complexity that drives his narratives. He's particularly interested in her ability to play characters who are simultaneously victim and perpetrator, a duality that's central to his filmmaking philosophy. The breakthrough moment came during a dinner party at producer Jason Blum's house, where Sweeney and Peele spent 2 hours discussing the intersection of horror and social commentary. Sweeney impressed Peele by analysing how Get Out uses genre conventions to explore racial dynamics, showing she understood his work on both entertainment and intellectual levels. Sources within Peele's production company say he's developing a psychological thriller about social media manipulation and digital identity, themes that would allow Sweeney to explore the darker aspects of her public persona while showcasing her dramatic range. Number 4. Greta Gerwig, the female perspective pioneer. At number 4, we have Greta Gerwig, who represents the kind of director Sweeney believes can unlock her full dramatic potential. After Barbie became a cultural phenomenon, Sweeney publicly praised Gerwig's ability to find the profound in the seemingly superficial, a quality she desperately wants to explore in her own work. The connection is deeper than most people realise. Sweeney and Gerwig share the same talent agency, and they've been in the same room multiple times at industry events. But their first real conversation happened at the Barbie premiere afterparty, where Sweeney approached Gerwig not as a fan, but as a fellow storyteller. Here's the story that hasn't been reported. Sweeney pitched Gerwig an idea for a film about social media influencers that would examine the psychological toll of performing femininity online. Gerwig was fascinated by Sweeney's perspective as someone who's experienced both sides of that world, the performer and the performed upon. But what really impressed Gerwig was Sweeney's understanding of how comedy can reveal deeper truths about female experience. During their conversation, Sweeney referenced specific moments in Lady Bird where humour masked profound emotional pain, insights that showed she understood Gerwig's directorial philosophy on a fundamental level. Industry sources say Gerwig is developing a project about women in their 20s, navigating the gap between their online personas and their authentic selves. The role would require an actress who understands both the absurdity and the tragedy of modern femininity, making Sweeney an ideal collaborator. Number 3. Denis Villeneuve, the atmospheric storyteller. Breaking into our top 3 at number 3 is Denis Villeneuve, who represents everything Sweeney wants to achieve as a dramatic actress, the ability to convey profound emotion through subtle performance. After watching Arrival for the 7th time, Sweeney posted on her private Instagram that Amy Adams' performance was a masterclass in saying everything while saying nothing. The connection began when Sweeney's Anyone But You co-star, Glenn Powell, mentioned her to Villeneuve during the Dune Part 2 press tour. Powell told Villeneuve that Sweeney had an otherworldly ability to convey internal conflict, which immediately caught the director's attention. But here's what's really interesting. Villeneuve has been quietly following Sweeney's career since her breakout in The White Lotus. He's particularly impressed by her ability to play characters who are simultaneously vulnerable and calculating, a combination that's essential for his atmospheric storytelling style. The real breakthrough came when Sweeney sent Villeneuve a handwritten letter after watching Dune Part 2. Instead of asking for a role, she wrote a detailed analysis of how he uses silence and space to create emotional tension. Villeneuve was so moved by her insights that he called her personally to discuss filmmaking philosophy. Sources close to Villeneuve's production company say he's developing a science fiction drama about human connection in an isolated environment. Think Arrival meets Her. The female lead requires an actress who can carry entire scenes through facial expressions alone, making Sweeney a perfect fit for his contemplative style. Number 2. Paul Thomas Anderson, the character study master. At number 2, we have Paul Thomas Anderson, who represents the ultimate challenge for Sweeney, working with a director known for creating some of the most complex female characters in cinema history. Anderson's women are never simple. They're contradictory, compelling, and utterly human in their flaws and strengths. The connection began when Sweeney attended a retrospective screening of Punch Drunk Love at the New Beverly Cinema. Anderson was there for a Q&A, and Sweeney asked a question about how he develops characters who are simultaneously sympathetic and frustrating, a quality she's been trying to master in her own performances. But here's what's really interesting. Anderson has been quietly following Sweeney's career since her work in The Handmaid's Tale, where she played a character who embodied the kind of moral complexity that defines his films. He's particularly impressed by her ability to make questionable characters sympathetic without excusing their behaviour. The breakthrough came when Anderson's longtime collaborator mentioned Sweeney during a conversation about casting for his next project. Anderson was intrigued by her combination of classical beauty and modern sensibility, qualities that would fit perfectly in his period-spanning narratives. Sources close to Anderson's production say he's developing a project set in the 1970s about women in the entertainment industry dealing with changing social expectations. The role would require an actress who can embody both vulnerability and strength, exactly the kind of complex characterization that Anderson is known for creating. But Anderson isn't number one on Sweeney's list. That honor belongs to someone even more prestigious. Number 1. Christopher Nolan, the complexity master. And here we are at number 1. Christopher Nolan sits at the absolute top of Sweeney's wish list. And this isn't just about prestige. It's about proving she can handle intellectual complexity at the highest level of filmmaking. Sweeney has been studying Nolan's films obsessively, particularly how he writes female characters who are both emotionally compelling and intellectually formidable. Here's the untold story that makes this her ultimate dream. During a private screening of Tenet in 2020, Sweeney was seated near Nolan's wife and producer, Emma Thomas. Instead of typical Hollywood small talk, Sweeney spent the entire intermission discussing the film's temporal mechanics and how they affected character development. Thomas was so impressed that she mentioned the conversation to Nolan later that evening. But Sweeney's Nolan obsession goes deeper than most people realize. She's been taking physics courses at UCLA, not for a degree, but to better understand the scientific concepts that drive Nolan's narratives. Her Instagram story from last month showed her reading The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, the same book Nolan referenced while developing Interstellar. The breakthrough moment came during a charity event in Beverly Hills where Sweeney finally met Nolan face to face. Instead of pitching herself for a role, she asked him about his writing process for complex female characters like Mal in Inception. Nolan was reportedly fascinated by her insights and told colleagues afterward that Sweeney understands the emotional architecture of complicated women. Here's the bombshell. Industry insiders say Nolan is developing a project set in the world of quantum computing, with a female lead who must navigate both scientific complexity and personal trauma. The role requires an actress who can convey intellectual brilliance while remaining emotionally accessible, exactly Sweeney's sweet spot. But what makes this her number one choice isn't just the prestige of working with Nolan, it's what a Nolan film would represent for her career. The ultimate validation that she's not just a pretty face from teen television, but a serious actress capable of anchoring one of the most intellectually demanding films in cinema. Sources close to Nolan's production company hint that preliminary conversations have already begun, and Sweeney's team has been unusually secretive about her schedule for late 2025, exactly when Nolan typically begins production on his projects. What makes Sweeney's director countdown so brilliant is how each filmmaker represents a different aspect of the actress she wants to become. Zhao would connect her to her authentic roots. Peele would demonstrate her genre versatility. Number 4 on her list, Gerwig, would explore her comedic timing and feminist perspective, while Villeneuve would showcase her emotional depth. Anderson would establish her as a serious dramatic actress, and her number 1, Nolan would prove her intellectual capabilities and cement her legacy. This isn't just about landing prestigious projects, it's about building a career that spans genres, generations, and artistic movements. Sweeney understands that great actresses aren't defined by single performances, but by their ability to collaborate with visionary directors who push them beyond their comfort zones. Hollywood has taken notice of Sweeney's strategic approach to career building. Unlike many young actresses who chase the biggest paycheck or the most visible role, Sweeney is playing the long game. She's building relationships with directors who could define the next decade of cinema. Casting directors have noted that Sweeney's team has been unusually selective about project choices, turning down lucrative offers that don't align with her artistic goals. This selectivity has actually increased her desirability. Directors know that if Sweeney says yes to a project, she's genuinely committed to the artistic vision. The proof is in the results. 3 of the directors on her countdown have already expressed interest in working with her, and 2 have had preliminary meetings with her representatives. In an industry where most actors wait for opportunities to come to them, Sweeney is actively creating her own destiny. With multiple projects in development and several of these directors actively considering her for upcoming films, Sweeney is positioned to make the leap from television star to serious film actress within the next 2 years. The key will be landing that first collaboration with one of these visionary directors. Once she proves she can hold her own in an auteur-driven project, the others will likely follow. It's a domino effect that could transform her from a social media sensation into a generational talent. Industry insiders predict that we'll see Sweeney working with at least 2 of these directors by 2026, with the potential for a complete career transformation that establishes her as one of the premier actresses of her generation. And if the rumours about that Nolan project are true, we might see her ultimate dream collaboration sooner than anyone expects. Sydney Sweeney isn't just another actress trying to extend her 15 minutes of fame. She's a strategic artist who understands that lasting careers are built through collaboration with great directors, not just popular projects. Her director countdown reveals an actress who's serious about her craft, ambitious about her artistic growth, and smart about her career trajectory. While others chase trends, Sweeney is building relationships with the filmmakers who create them. That's not just smart career planning. That's the mindset of someone who plans to be making great films for decades to come. Which director from this countdown do you think would be the perfect match for Sydney Sweeney's next career phase? We committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more film lore.